Ted Jones messed with the wrong melon farmers.
Ted Jones, I also call him the eighth wonder of the real estate world.
Ted Jones, who knows, it could be.
Ted Jones?
The Ted Jones World Podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 58 of the Ted Jones World Podcast. I am your host and a familiar face on the couch here with me, Giulio Gallerotti, New York City comedian. How are you, sir?
What's up, dude?
Dude, I feel bad actually calling you a New York City comedian because you're a man who has done comedy all over the world, quite frankly.
Comedian of the world.
Dude, LA for the most part, I'd say it goes to New York, then you've done LA the second most. And then what about your African comedy debut, man? That happened a few years ago. Talk a little bit about that.
All right. I'm actually impressed also that you know the places where I've performed. The first, then second most. He is accurate. Okay.
Maybe not the third most, though.
No. Well, I mean, you didn't even say the third most. I think you're good. But, all right, for Africa, that's a whole long story. But I ended up going over there, connecting with these comedians over there and doing a show. And the show, I didn't do that well on the show.
You mean the actual comedy show itself in Africa?
On the actual comedy show, I kind of started okay. I was talking about my experience there and stuff, and it was going all right. And then I kind of just started losing them, and I just never got them back. And then I did 10 minutes, and I think maybe they were thinking I was going to do longer. I don't really know, but I don't think I did that well. I think that if you asked them, they would say that it was a disappointment.
What do you mean?
Their first American comedy act was a disappointment.
The crowd in general? Do you think it was a lost in translation sort of thing?
Maybe. I hope so. I also think that I don't know. I didn't grab them that night. I'm sure that maybe there's a style difference, but it shouldn't have to be like that. I should be able to theoretically go and do well there. You know what I mean? They understood. English is basically the primary language where I was. So, it was on me. I mean, I was doing a lot of other stuff that week. I wasn't really thinking about the show. We were shooting something. And when the show came around, whatever, I just didn't do that well.
So in terms of doing comedy in Africa, definitely a foreign thought for most comedians, I would think. You went to Rwanda, correct? Mm-hmm. And you said you were shooting something. Mm-hmm. So kind of let us in on what were you shooting when you were over there?
So I don't really want to jinx it. Mm-hmm. Because it's still kind of in development.
Yeah, the shooting special.
The stuff that we were shooting. Yeah.
Okay.
But we were just kind of filming everything and hanging out with the guys over there, guys and girls, and it was fun, man. It was cool. It's cool to visit a place where where you can hang out with people who are from there. Obviously, it goes without saying, but especially in places that kind of feel unfamiliar.
Right.
And I would argue definitely where we were in Africa was definitely something like that. I think most of the quote unquote, tourists, not even quote unquote, most of the tourists who go there, they do shit that tourists do. They go to the genocide museum, they go to the mountains, they go on safaris. They don't hang out in the city. You know what I mean? We were just hanging out in the city and going out drinking and getting burritos and shit. It was
right, playing PS4 or whatever.
Yeah, we were playing video games. It was just a very normal. It's what I would do here.
Right.
Which was cool.
Would you say that since this was a couple of years ago before the time of COVID, would this be a trip that is even possible for anyone to do nowadays, with masks and everything?
So it's interesting that you say that. I was looking because I want to try to maybe travel somewhere this fall.
Dude, you got the travel bug, man. Last time you were on the podcast was 10 episodes. We were just talking about your road trip through 11 states. Friggin' how many miles? 6,000 miles. Just all over the place. But sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. So I did obviously a lot of road tripping this summer. It was fun. But I was thinking that I would love to go to the Caribbean at some point in the winter.
Oh.
And so, dude, they're on the U.S. whatever site it is. I have it on my phone, actually. But there's a list of how every single country's rules based for COVID.
For America or
for
just in
Americans going there? I'm serious. There's how every single country handles it in the world.
And
so a lot of countries. I didn't look too much into Europe or whatever. A lot of those countries have rules where Americans aren't allowed to go at all. But on a lot of the places in the Caribbean, specifically, that's the only place I looked. But almost all of them, you either just had to have a COVID test within 72 hours of arriving or literally within 7 days. which is great. So literally, you could just go to urgent care, get a test for free, wait 2-3 days, get your results, and you can go.
And then also, sorry, I heard this on your podcast. You had gotten a COVID test and then didn't even get the results back like 11 days later. Like this was a couple months ago.
Okay, so I have some good COVID test content.
Give it all to us, bro.
I got good stuff for you guys.
Spitballing,
On
baby.
TJW. So dude, I went to Alaska, obviously.
Well, sorry, I guess
it's not obvious.
go back to the
Sorry.
getting into countries like Americans getting into Caribbean and such,
Gotcha.
places like that.
No. So basically, I mean, I said everything I had to say about that. But then what you were talking about when I got back to the city after having been in Chicago, I think. I kind of felt bad. It was like earlier in the summer, and I felt bad just going home because I live with people at home, and like
right.
they, just to be a homie, I was like, I'll just get a COVID test, whatever. So I stayed in my girlfriend's sister's apartment. She isn't there right now, and I got a test, and literally I didn't get it back. I didn't get the results back for 15 days.
That is crazy.
What's the point of even getting a test?
That is nuts, man.
Right. So then I was going to Alaska, and they have pretty strict rules about COVID tests if you're going to Alaska. So one of the things that they make you do, you have to get a PCR test. There's 2 different tests, apparently. I didn't know this until I was looking into this. You need a PCR test. You need to have taken it within 72 hours of arriving in Alaska.
What does PCR mean?
There's 2 different tests. One of them is an antigen test, and that's not antibody. Antigen test and a PCR test. PCR test is the only one approved by the FDA.
And they're both for COVID?
They're both for COVID. They're
Okay.
both, I think, as far as I know, they're both accurate.
That you get the thing stuck up your nose both times.
I think there's different ways you can do them both, but I think both of those you can do it with the nose. So I go to LA. I had been, and so I road trip to LA, and then from LA I was going to fly to Alaska. So since I was in Colorado, I'm road tripping. It's like I wasn't going to be able to get a test. So that one day I had in LA was going to be the only day I could get a test.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to bang this out. I'm going to get it. Found a place where there were rapid tests, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's hard to find a rapid test. Like if you search rapid test, it's just like the Google search result is just like flooded with
all
bullshit.
like ads.
It's
and all
just
this
like
crap.
it's impossible to find a spot.
Right.
So it's like I was asking around, and I found a place. So I paid like $125, which is a lot,
Yeah, that is a lot.
to get a rapid test.
Uh-huh.
I get it, boom, done, great, ready to go. Then I'm like, fuck, what kind of test is this? And I look and I realized that it was an antigen test. It was not a PCR test. So I was like, fuck. I was like, do I want to risk it? I'm like, what if I get to Alaska and I had the plans to fly the next day once I was in Alaska to another part of Alaska. And if they like made me quarantine at the airport, if I had the wrong test, like I wouldn't be able to do any of that.
You know what's also weird, side note, how like Alaska, I guess, just seems to have its own rules, even though it's part of the U.S., but is so freaking far away from what? Washington State, Oregon? What's like the
Washington, but then there's like, and I always forget this, but it's like Washington State, Canada, and then at the top left part of Canada is Alaska. If you're like, to kind of draw it out with words. But yeah, so they're stricter just because, whatever. They don't want to be affected. They're not part of the continental U.S. Anyway, I'm like, fuck it. I don't want to risk it. I'm just going to get a PCR test also. So then I looked around. I found a place that was $250, rapid test.
Jesus.
Like you get your results by midnight. And I was like, all right, fuck, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So I do it, get the test, negative. And my buddy who I was going with got an antigen test also. And he's like, whatever, I'm going to risk it. So, we get to the airport, like drum roll. And I told him already, I was like, dude, upload your shit to the portal. And then there's like a portal, like a traveler's portal, where you tell them everything about your trip. You upload your test. That's it. And then when you get to the airport, there are these little cubicles with kind of like medical workers stationed there who check you in. They check all your shit, make sure you did what you had to do. So all these fucking dummies are standing there with their phones like, oh, portal, what fucking portal? And we just kind of breeze right through. We get to our station. The woman literally just looks at my thing for 2 seconds, sees that I uploaded a file to the portal, doesn't look to see what it is, just sees that I uploaded a file. And it's like, all right, you're good to go, enjoy. I could have literally just drawn a picture of me, a smiley face as my test.
You know what I mean?
And it would have been fine.
Like, I feel like these days, people who are trying to navigate like through the coronavirus mix, like in terms of when people are checking your temperature at the gym, people are actually giving you the test in general. Nobody really even knows what the hell to do.
I know.
I just feel like people are like, you're probably fine. The rate isn't that high. Or it depends where you are, but chances are you usually will be good. But what ended up happening to you on that trip? Had a smooth sailing time? Or
So interesting you ask. So when I was on the second leg of the flight, so it wasn't a direct, we flew to Seattle, and then from Seattle we flew to Anchorage. And while I'm on the plane, so we were planning to go to the Arctic. We were going to go to this town called Barrow. And now it's called Utqiagvik or something. Like I had to literally look online how to say that. It's spelled like UQT, like whatever. Some like I'm presumably like native name or something. So the northernmost city I think in the world. And we were just going to go to say we were up there, and like there were all these like silly restaurants, like little restaurants with like silly names. There's only 3 hotels. One was closed, other one was booked, and there was like 1 room available basically in the whole city. We got it, right? While I'm on the plane, I get an email from the hotel being like, "Please don't come to our little town. Please don't come."
Do you think this was like a mass email or just to you?
Just to me, dude. They're like, "Please don't come to our little town. Our little town has been ravaged by COVID. Please, there are new rules about essential travel.
This is like a personal email, like Dear Giulio Gallarotti.
Please don't come to our town."
Oh my God.
So I looked, and there actually was not a COVID outbreak according to the official statistics on Google. So I was kind of like, and then this kid who we met up in Alaska was saying that like those little towns had been doing that. They'd be like lying about COVID outbreaks to prevent people from coming.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, maybe it's because they're just like the hospital isn't nearby or something. It's just there's such a small population that like they're like all worried and shit. So I mean, I don't want to go to a place where they don't want me, even if I could theoretically pull it off, So I just didn't go. And we canceled the hotel and we just like made other plans.
But in the same kind of town area in Alaska?
No, we were unable to travel to the Arctic, unfortunately.
Oh.
But we kind of just stayed then from Anchorage. There's one paved road in Alaska. It goes north to Fairbanks and then it goes south to Seward. And these are all cities that I had not heard of. But that's kind of like the basic, easy first time in Alaska trip that you can take. You can rent a car, you can drive, because the rental companies won't let you drive on dirt roads. And there's a lot of fucked up dirt roads in Alaska.
Right. What was that? What's that show called? Ice Road Truckers.
Oh, yeah.
When they just have 18-wheelers going on like narrow, I don't even know. What is it? Narrow mountainside roads.
Yeah.
Just crazy
Is
shit
it in
like
Alaska?
that. Yeah.
That's crazy. With like chain wheels and stuff. Yeah.
And it's just super scary.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. History Channel has some pretty scary shows. So Giulio talking about moving around through COVID, regarding just traveling and such, man. But I know you have a comedy show this weekend, New York Comedy Club on Sunday, and that is an outdoor show. So is that what's been happening in New York, LA? Is that happening everywhere? I mean,
yes.
Until people can go inside?
So some places there's indoor comedy.
At like 25%, like in New York City?
I mean, no, like there's no indoor comedy in New York City, but like in other states, it's a state by state thing.
Oh, dude, well, I saw something crazy. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, just like signed off on the Dolphins this Sunday to be playing a game. I don't know who they're playing against. NFL, Miami Dolphins are playing a game, and the governor said that all 65,000 people are allowed to show up in attendance. So the guy could be a genius, as I said last week. Also could be a moron. I don't know. We'll see what's going on. Because like in New York City, there have been cluster close downs. Hasidic Jews are not happy. Borough Park. I don't know. What's another Hasidic Jew place over there in Brooklyn? You're a big Brooklyn guy. Yes, sure. Williamsburg. They're very pissed off. Not happy about wearing the masks. And even the ones who were wearing masks, like the Hasidic Jews who were wearing masks, they're wearing like Trump Pence masks. And then like Hasidic Jews for Donald Trump on their mask. Yeah, dude, super interesting. Even though Donnie T got COVID, he's a warrior, so obviously he beat it, or so far he's beating it. It's crazy. Donnie T was like, it's not even that bad. Like, I would have survived if I didn't go to the hospital. The way he talks and shit. But I don't know, man. The guy has really impressed me. The fact that karma has not hit this guy harder.
Well, I mean, dude, I read a list today of all the foreign leaders who've gotten COVID. He's had it close to the worst of any of them. But one leader has died. I forget who it was, and I forget what. Oh, it was a president of Burundi died from COVID.
Where is that?
It's in Africa.
A country in Africa?
That is the only that's the only leader who has died from COVID. And Trump got it really bad. Almost the rest of them, like no one really even had to go to the hospital.
Now,
Boris Johnson had it pretty bad.
How are you deeming Trump getting it really bad? The doctor is like vaguely saying what happened, and then he had to go to the hospital.
His oxygen levels dropped, and they put him on a respirator.
Twice he had to be on a respirator.
That's having it bad.
Right.
That's
and then
bad,
also, dude, when he did that
symptoms.
When he did that dramatic mask takeoff when he was on like the what was it, the patio or the porch of the White House, he was like.
I didn't watch that, but that's hilarious.
It's pretty bad.
He's breathing
yeah,
heavy?
dude. The guy just walked up 5 steps. He eats McDonald's every day. Like
Does he?
Dude,
He said he loves
guy
fast
loves
food, right?
McDonald's. I can't remember if it was last year or the college football national championship game before that. The Clemson Tigers won the national championship, and he just had all the Clemson University in South Carolina. They won the national football title, and he had all the players come to the White House, and he was just serving Big Macs.
Oh, that's funny.
Just bought like 200 Big Macs, and then was just serving it to the team. But I mean, it's interesting to see how every state, every country is kind of dealing with COVID, because everyone is definitely doing it very differently. Like New Zealand, super in the clear, obviously, because they have a woman leader, and women, man, are definitely more, I'd say, like solid minded.
Better in times of crisis.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
for sure,
more
bro.
calm, and don't just think with their ego. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, you and I, big fans of tennis, of course, and the French Open is on right now. It looks like more and more people are kind of going to the matches as time goes on. But the women's final this weekend, men's final this weekend, too.
We got to watch it.
Yes,
Sunday.
bro. I got to pick your brain, and I got to ask you who's winning the men's tourney and who's taking the women's title.
I mean, Kennan's going to win the women's.
Sophia Kennan is
Probably.
going to. How old is Sophia Kennan right now?
She's 21.
She's 21, and she just won the Australian Open, actually,
And
back
she won
in
the U.S. Open as well, right?
January. No.
She didn't? She's only won the Australian?
Didn't Naomi Osaka win the U.S.
Yeah,
Open?
you might be right. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah.
I thought she won 2 cents.
One of those two. No, I think this
Just
would be
Aussie?
her second one.
Gotcha.
But a dream match final on the men's side would be Novak Djokovic versus Rafael Nadal. Who do you have there?
Joko.
That's crazy you have
Djokovic.
Joko, because if Nadal were to win that match, or if he does win that match, I don't know, you guys are listening right now and you already know the result, but that is Nadal's 100th win at the French Open. So
And his 20th Grand Slam.
I can't see Nadal losing his 100th match at the French Open, man. I don't know. You know what? Whenever Giulio makes this face, and I say something that could be controversial, I smell a bet coming. It's like, you want to put $5 on it?
I'll put cash on this. Dude,
All right,
'cause
us, you and I.
Yeah.
All right, let's put a solid 5 gentlemen's bet there. All
I
right,
would
so
do-
I got 5 on Rafa. I mean, I don't even have odds. I'd say that's a good. Well, but Djokovic has the odds in Vegas.
Djokovic will
Slight
be the
odds.
underdog, or he's the
No,
favorite?
Djokovic is the favorite, which is
gotcha.
crazy.
It's not crazy, and this is why.
Why?
Nadal he doesn't look his best. He looks good, but like he doesn't look his best.
It's also cold.
It's cold, and that's the thing too. His
Like
ball
'cause
isn't as like heavy.
Right, because the French Open is usually played
June.
like late May, early June, and now they're playing it at the end of September,
It's like
middle of
50
October.
degrees.
Like, no joke. It was 80 degrees
freezing.
when they originally are playing it, and now it's like 50 degrees. Like, even your boy Nadal is wearing the spandex, and you never see Nadal
Right.
really mixing up his outfit, because he's very ritual regimented. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see who wins, man. But I'm also ready for, I don't want to say I'm ready for the top 3 to slowly retire and move away from the game, because I love Fed, and I can't wait till Fed hopefully comes
He's
back.
playing the
for
Australian.
The Australian, right? But the Australian is
playing
in,
it.
right, but it's in January. So I
It's
mean,
October.
Well, you know what? You're right. It is. I was thinking French Open
I
was
know.
back in May,
know.
but yeah, it's
I know.
only 2 months. Fed got a little knee surgery, but I'm praying for Fed, man. And I can't have anyone take more Grand Slam titles than Roger Federer. That would just be a travesty to the sport of tennis. So we got to get some of these young guns winning a few more Grand Slams. But who's going to be number 1 in the world in 5 years?
Who the hell knows?
Come on. Well, I'm asking you. So who do you think?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't either. I would like to think like a guy like Dominic Thiem, could potentially be a number 1 player, but
And he's what, 28? I
he's
guess
27.
33, 32 is a good number 1 age.
Yeah,
so
I
these
mean, we'll
days.
see also the longevity of these guys playing the sport. The guys are getting older and older, and definitely
Right.
able to,
compete.
yeah, because I mean they're working out way more than these past tennis players have been, and yeah, so hopefully they'll be in the sport for a long time. Other sports news: Game 5 of the NBA Finals, Heat versus Lakers. And dude, did you hear that they're going to be wearing the Mamba jerseys for Game 5, the
That's cool.
Lakers?
That's cool.
So I can't imagine that they lose wearing Mamba jerseys in Game 5.
They should have no problem. I mean, dude, they were like not even playing that well in Game 4 and still sort of like handled it.
Yeah. What would you say for LeBron on the greatness meter after he takes this title?
He's up there.
I mean, people are talking crap about LeBron, saying that his era is not as great as the Michael Jordan era. It's not as great as the Bill Russell era, which is, maybe valid, but LeBron is just such a big dude. The guy's like 6'9", 250 pounds. In any era, it seems like a guy like his size would dominate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that seems like an interesting
It also seems like
criticism.
right. It also seems like a cop out because LeBron is going to be one of the greatest players of all time. Better than Jordan, I don't know, but that Jordan documentary back in June really made me think differently on how good of a basketball player Michael Jordan is. Like, people really forgot, and I think Michael Jordan was like, "All right, we got to put out this documentary after LeBron won his last title," because people were low key sleeping
Dude,
on
I don't
MJ.
think that people forgot about MJ though, man.
Well,
I mean,
people who didn't really grow up watching MJ, I can
right.
see how would forget. Like, maybe people who are like 25, 26, they grew up kind of watching LeBron James, didn't really see Michael Jordan at all through their through their whole life. But the people who are like around our age maybe had a little bit of that sip of Michael Jordan back in the day.
Yeah,
when
I
we
definitely
were in,
watched
like, middle school.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
watched like his second go around, like his second three-peat. I was actively involved in that. I'm a little older than you.
Right. But did you mess with Space Jam? Are you excited for Space Jam 2 with LeBron?
I mean, yeah, it should be good.
I know. So, I don't. LeBron, I think, does a good job in not wanting to be compared to Michael Jordan.
He's a better actor than Michael Jordan.
You think so? What are you basing this? What was that movie?
He's in Trainwreck. He was great.
Oh yeah, with Amy Schumer and Caroline Pyrus.
Has she been on the pod?
She's not been on my pod. My ex-girlfriend from high school, age 17. Dude, I was actually
She's a great girl.
Dude, you know what? I was actually talking about her one time. I was talking about the time when it was my sister's bat mitzvah, and like I broke up with Caroline like 2 days before my sister's bat mitzvah, and then the night of my sister's bat mitzvah, she went on a date with Adrian Grenier. The Vince from Entourage,
that sucks.
and dude, it was the worst bat mitzvah of my entire life. But
this is like peak
we're really
Vinny.
not going to talk about that too much. This is peak,
Dude.
Vinny
He was Vinny Chase. He
Yes,
was like,
dude.
that happening today is way not like it's not
You can't even
anywhere.
compare it to anything.
Now he's like an Uber pool riding like environmentalist dork.
Activist, right?
Before he was the fucking man.
I don't even know what you can compare this to because like it was like season 5 of Entourage and it was my personal favorite show, and then I just couldn't watch I still can't watch Entourage. What, 15 years later? He was 33, she was 17 years old. So I thought it was messed up on so many different levels, but hey, power to both of them.
Entourage didn't age well, man. If you watch it now, it's like kind of sucks.
Is it like corny?
It's
maybe
really,
you'd say?
really, really corny. Like if you watch it now, when we were like, "Oh, that's sick." If you watch it, if you watch it now, dude, you'd be like, "This is cringe."
Dude, I rewatched like the first 2 episodes of OC. I felt the same way. Like Ryan Atwood and his dumb lines. Like Marissa's outside smoking a cigarette outside of Seth Cohen's house, and she's like, "So who are you?" to Ryan Atwood. And Ryan Atwood's like, "Whoever you want me to be." And I made like chill, dude. There's just so many shows back in the day when I was like in 8th and 9th grade that I could not get enough of. That like now I'm a little bit cringe worthy too. Some shows that have lasted through the what is it? The Vault of Time, I guess. The Office, which I'm almost done with, and I just started, which is funny. And Breaking Bad. Yeah, I think those are like my 2 favorite shows.
Breaking Bad
of all time.
Yeah, it's great.
In terms of like series.
I'm trying to think when Breaking Bad ended. Not too long ago, right?
No, I'd say Breaking Bad could have ended in like 2014. We actually have excuse me. We actually have a new producer over here, producer Katie, testing out the waters. But Katie's gonna look up that stat for us when Breaking Bad actually ended.
2013.
2013. Oh,
yeah,
so it's been done for a little bit, but still like great acting on the side of Bryan Cranston. But the guy Aaron Paul, Jesse, in that show is one of the I don't want to say one of the worst actors I've ever seen, but one of the badder actors I've ever seen in terms of like Bryan Cranston being literally an Academy Award winning actor in this show, and then having just some like crystal meth head show. Do you remember kind
Well,
of the acting
hold
in that
on.
show?
He's acting though.
No, but I feel like if you go
You
back
don't
and
think
you
he did-
watch
you
the
don't
show,
think
I
he
don't
was
think
good?
no, I don't think he did a good job. I know he was acting and I know he was a meth head and stuff, but there were just some lines that he was saying in the show that I was like, all right, man, like let's do that back. Let's run that back. All right, Vince Gilligan, the creator of the show. I was like, come on, man. Like Bryan Cranston just delivered a beautiful line. Then Aaron Paul, aka Jesse Pinkman, just delivered a line and it was very subpar. So
That's controversial. That's a controversial opinion.
I know, bro. Everybody loves Aaron Paul, and I don't get it. Everyone loves Jesse Pinkman.
I don't. Yeah.
You liked Aaron Paul as an actor.
I
didn't think he was good.
Listen, I don't want to be like I don't like him as an actor. I mean, he's definitely not like a person that I'm like a fanboy about.
Right.
And I definitely like didn't watch the show for him. But I don't know.
Well, I guess speaking of fanboy, we can quickly go to entertainment. Briefly, Kanye West, the guy this morning said, based on his finances, he's worth about $5 billion. It's a lot of cash.
Dude,
nice
and our
work
boy.
there.
So we have a friend whose like family has a bunch of money, and he loves to like contest people's net worth.
Right.
He's like, oh, dude, they base that on a valuation of how much his company will gross over the next 10 years. He's not actually worth that much. Like, he loves to say shit like that. That's what he would say to this.
He would say that.
And I have no idea if he's right or not, but I also
Yeah.
don't care. He'll be like, Kylie Jenner's not that rich. I was just, it's a bitch.
Dude, but it's also like when a person is rich and then someone else is more rich than them, it, I guess,
get
tends to
pissed.
grind their gears. Yeah, definitely. Like if Kanye West went up to Trump, or he said it before, but if Kanye West outwardly to Trump was like, I'm richer than you, like there's no way Trump would allow Kanye West to be
He'd be
richer
pissed
than
about
him.
that.
Yeah, he'd be super pissed about that. But vote for Kanye if you don't support the other two candidates. Did you see the vice presidential debate?
No, but
last night?
obviously I
didn't
saw
see
The
it.
Fly.
I didn't see either. Yes, but I saw The Fly, and The Fly super symbolistic of poop. I would say, flies love shit, and I think people were really eating that up.
Yeah, people.
And dude, I don't think that could be a coincidence. Could that be a coincidence? I mean, but
Yes. Yes, it could.
Yes, obviously it could be a coincidence, but like,
You think there's
how
sort
does
of
that
symbolism?
happen? Yeah, man. It
That
has
was
to be
pretty
some.
crazy.
It has to be some sort of symbolism.
I saw a funny one. Like you've never seen the movie Psycho because it's too scary. But at the end of Psycho,
way too scary.
spoiler alert, in Psycho, like
Who's in that movie? Sorry.
what the fuck is his name? Anthony. Alfred Hitchcock made it, but it's Anthony. Can you look it up, Katie? I can't believe I can't. Janet Leigh, Anthony Perkins, yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
And he thinks that he's his dead mother. So like, and you find that out at the end of the movie. There's this whole thing. But at the end of the movie, there's a point where he's sitting in the interrogation room, and you hear his inner dialogue, and it's just him sitting there, and he's like, "They'll never know what I did," or like some shit like that. And he goes, "As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to move this fly. I'm not even going to hit this fly," or something. And they did that meme for the Mike Pence thing, where they do a slow zoom on him, and they put that like very clever. I thought.
Creepy. How long was that fly on his head? 2 minutes?
Dude, I bet you that his
Oh my
camp were
God.
just like
Losing their minds. What it been
hitting their head.
Dude, what is your excuse for that, though? I haven't heard
You
the
can't
Trump
feel
camp
it,
say
dude.
anything. Yeah, but I mean, what is their excuse for after the fact and they see the fly on the head for 2 minutes?
There's no excuse. A fly just happened to get in the room and land on his head. There's no excuse.
That's a good excuse right there.
There's no excuse. You don't need to have
I
an
know,
excuse.
but you're like, oh yeah, the fly just happened to fly on his head. No, clearly Ruth Ginsburg,
saying that too.
put the fly on his head.
Well, I mean, dude, I don't think that it was embarrassing and like probably ultimately not a good thing.
I'd say not.
Not a good thing.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. But like, he doesn't have to defend himself.
No, he doesn't. Because like, how are you gonna defend
He
yourself?
didn't do
on
anything
that?
wrong. He's like, it's not like
He's
I
like,
fucking.
it's just a fly. It happens to everyone.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't do. He wasn't
I
like
don't know.
committing treason or anything. It's just a
Well,
fly.
yeah, well, not on camera, not during the debate. Hey, well, there you go. This has been lingering for a little bit. You and I both big rap fans, big tennis fans. Not a lot of us out there,
That's true.
but Tory Lanez, dude, finally got charged for shooting Meg Thee
He did?
Stallion in her foot. Did you see this? He's facing 20+ years
Wow.
in prison. He's been dropping albums, been dropping songs, dropping names on songs, talking shit to everyone who has been talking shit about him in terms of him shooting this other rapper, Meg Thee Stallion, who came up with the song WAP, wet ass P word, with Cardi B. But dude, I don't know what's gonna happen. What could be a clearer version of this story, Tory Lanez? Please tell us.
Dude, I don't know. Apparently, I know as much as you know. He supposedly shot her. I have no idea why or how or what happened.
He said he was drunk, or he texted her he was drunk. He was like, "Yo, my bad. I was mad weak last night."
He was drunk, so he shot her in the
Yeah,
foot.
I mean, he was upset.
About what?
You know what? I think it was just a classic little fight between a guy and a girl who were hooking up, because they were hooking up. They were quietly hooking up. Yeah. Julio just had a fly on his face, but we got the window open over here, so that was a good excuse.
So
yes, so they were hooking up quietly, and I think it just happened. It happened in Miami, and I think it was just a classic man versus woman fight.
Classic man shoots someone.
She got out of the car, started walking away. He wasn't happy with it. Shot his 22, I believe, at her feet.
Isn't a 22 like a?
No, 22 is like a small gun.
It is.
No, I think
I thought a
AK
22
is like
is
this big.
Isn't a 22 a rifle?
Katie, can we look that up? Can we look up a 22? I thought a 22 was just like a hand pistol. Whatever. Shot at her feet, and it's a pistol. 22. Shot at her feet and hit her in the feet, and then hit her in the foot, or both feet rather. I don't know if it was
like
one.
dance?
I don't know if it was one. Dude, he said that.
He did.
He said dance.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, pretty sure he actually did say dance. And now he came up with an album, came out with some music videos, and is just talking shit on the label. A lot of people not happy with him. I'm not happy with him. I thought he was doing quite well, regarding his little Instagram live videos that he was doing, like Tory Lanez in quarantine. I don't know if you remember that, but the guy was doing well, and he thinks he missed out on probably about like 10 mil, through this whole Meg Thee Stallion saga. But that's what happens when you play with guns, kids. Don't play with guns.
Don't shoot your girlfriend.
Don't shoot your girlfriend or the girl you're hooking up with.
Don't shoot.
Rather.
Don't shoot anyone.
No. I don't say it. Yeah, I'd say don't shoot anyone. Crazy ass story. Julia, do you have any crazy ass stories like that? Now, I know you did start a forest fire in Colorado years ago, but we've talked about that briefly. You want to just quick, I guess since I'm bringing it up, why don't we just quickly revert back to how scared you were for probably, what was this, one of the top 5 craziest things that's ever happened to you?
Probably. I don't know. I was definitely scared, man. Just long story short, I started a big fire. I got arrested. And the scariest part is kind of not knowing what's going to happen. Like, you don't know what you're getting charged with yet, and you don't know if it's going to affect you. I assumed, and I remembered this, every time a friend of mine who's gotten arrested, they all think their life's over, and then it never is. They always end up being totally fine. And most of the time not even having a record afterward. So I was hopefully something will be fine. But the thing that I was the most worried about was that I would have to pay a fine. I was afraid that I was going to have to pay
a handsome fine.
Like $50,000 or something. I had no idea how much it was, if I was going to get fined at all. And I ended up not getting fined.
Right. So how did it start off again? You were just lighting fireworks off, basically, in a...
That's exactly how it started.
A kind of a dirt patch?
on the side of the road. And you know what's funny? For no reason, in the middle of the day, and these weren't even, there's daytime fireworks, apparently. I don't know that much about fireworks, obviously, starting fires with them. But there are daytime fireworks where they explode, and then an army guy with a parachute pops out, like the toy, you know what I mean? But these were nighttime fireworks. I was shooting them off in the day. There's no reason to be doing that. And a fire started. But it's funny, this summer I was actually back in that town that I did that in. I had to drive past, because I was doing a road trip again, and I had to drive through that town. It was pretty crazy to be back there.
And then
I probably drove by the exact place where I did the fire.
Right. And I remember you told me classic, anyone who wants to go to jail and it's I just want to go to jail for 2 weeks so I could get jacked. You in fact did bust out 500 plus push-ups
Not that
in
many,
the cell.
Quite a few.
How long were you in the cell for?
A couple hours.
You must have busted out a bunch of sit-ups or push-ups, and then you were also watching the tennis channel.
They let me out of my cell and they allowed me to watch tennis. You're not a flight risk.
And it wasn't even a Grand Slam tennis tournament. You were just watching
I was watching Legends. I was watching the senior tour.
So you were watching Jim Courier versus Andre Agassi versus McEnroe.
I forgot who he was. It might have been McEnroe versus Philippoussis.
Ooh, battle of the old bangers. Well,
Yeah.
that's super exciting, man.
I mean, dude, you know, whatever. Live to tell the tale. I'm trying to think of like if there are times where I've actually seen a gun, like like a handgun. And a couple of times, like I was at like a weird after hours party, and one of this guy there had a gun. And
You
it was,
told
like,
me that.
that like there's nothing to like vibe you out worse than like seeing a gun at like an after party. Like that's when you know you should have gone home hours ago.
Right. Like nothing good happens after 12 o'clock. My mom always says that. And I'm assuming that was after 12 o'clock.
This was like after 4 o'clock. This was like really late, dude. Like, you know, I would even argue 12 o'clock, you're still good. But
Right.
I understand why a mom would say that. But then I think I saw a gun one other time. Like some girl had a gun at this party for some reason. Like I don't know, like in her bag. And that was it. It was my only encounters with seeing people have fucking gats.
Bam, bam, bam. So, Julio, you and I guess we're going on a little couples retreat trip next weekend. I've told a few people who have been watching and listening, so more than a few people, obviously, that I've kind of been seeing this girl. She was on, well, I had spoken briefly about her on episode 14 when I was like, I love you. Is that weird? So that was like the title of the episode. And then now,
Wait,
I
what?
guess the title, dude. So
Okay,
when I was,
fine. But wait, you said that?
I said that to her, dude.
You said
Like
I
a
love you?
long time ago. I said
What do
I
you mean?
love you. It was just like a friendly I love
When-
you, but
when
it
do
was
you
like
mean a long
weird.
time ago?
When we were at Ricky Velez's wedding on the episode 14. So
Ah.
like this was in November. I had met this girl. I was talking to her for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I love you. And she was like, what? And I was like, I don't know. And then I disappeared.
Wow.
It was a pretty good move,
That's
man.
solid.
And then look at me, 9 months later in the mix. 10 or 11 months
Fully
later.
in the mix.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited to. We're going to Long Island. It seems that way. Julio and his girlfriend, and then my friend as well. So we'll see, man.
Yeah. Are you nervous?
No, I think it'll be a good time. I like vaguely talk about this girl on the podcast too. I haven't dropped her by name, but she has a little podcast. You've been on it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good little episode.
We're slowly starting
I've
to
listened
narrow
to
down
it.
the
Yeah,
possibilities.
but I still think there's like it's pretty broad. People wouldn't really be able to guess, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll name her. I don't know.
So what are
We'll
we gonna
see.
do, bro?
Bro? So I'm thinking we get there late Friday night. Get there at 10:30, 11, maybe watch a little tube till 1 a.m. Wake up, hit brunch, and then apple picking. But dude, I feel like
Wait,
apple picking is
what do you
not
mean?
fun.
Bro, wait, you didn't tell me this.
No,
Apple
I know.
picking
That's
is-
what I'm thinking. I'm spitballing
Oh,
right
you're
now.
thinking
Yeah,
apple picking.
I'm thinking out loud. Like, dude, apple picking could be the worst activity.
Where is there a place to do that?
Worth it. You pick 10 apples and it's $60. I don't know. You go to like
Riverhead
like
or something?
like Riverhead, or you go like one of those wineries. Maybe
Yeah,
they'll have
apple pick?
apples. I don't know.
I don't
Should
think
we
they
apple
do.
pick?
I don't think that wineries or like vineyards don't have apples, do they?
Well, they don't.
Don't they
They
have
don't have.
grapes?
Well, they don't serve wine. I love how we're both looking at Katie over here.
Yeah.
Well, they're both like you can't really sit down and have wine at like a Wolford's estate like when it's winter. So maybe they just put apples in the field to like compensate for it. I don't know. Okay, whatever. We're gonna wake up. We're gonna have brunch. Maybe hit the hot tub. Go on a little hike. You like hiking? We should go on a little hike.
Could be fun.
That'd be fun. And then I'm thinking cook dinner for have our girls cook us dinner Saturday night.
Oh
How
my
does that
God,
sound?
That's hilarious.
Does your girlfriend cook?
Yeah.
Like cooks for you a little bit?
No.
No, but like she'll cook and like do
She
kind of
can,
whatever.
but she could, but she doesn't. Like she has a small kitchen. It's funny. She's an interesting person because she like I feel like most people who I know, if they can do something, you know about it. But she's one of those people who she's like very competent in a lot of ways where I didn't expect her to be.
Okay.
But then all of a sudden, even though she's never cooked for me, she's actually a very good cook. And not for me. Like I've never seen or heard of her cooking really, but I've seen it a couple times now that we've been together for a while. And like they were just in random circumstances. Like we went over to our buddy's house, and he's like, "Come over for dinner." And then like they had a bunch of salmon, and no one knew how to cook it, which is like I know it seems like a pretty easy thing to cook.
it
so
does.
So she was like, okay,
but I suck at
and
cooking.
she banged it out and like made everybody dinner.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a good time.
So she's like, she can do things if she has to. She can be pretty good and hands on.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way to be. That's the way to
But
be.
I don't know how she's gonna take me being like, all right, girls, you make us dinner now.
Yeah. Well,
She's
I
gonna be
think
like-
I'll take the lead on that. I'll slip it in there. Be like, so Julio's girlfriend, I hear you're great at cooking. And then what's she going to be like?
She's going to go, oh, you think I'm going to cook dinner for you? Is that what you're,
Well,
is that what you're saying?
Like,
Is that what you're saying?
I guess. That'd be nice. That'd be nice if you decide to do that. I was watching some documentary on Netflix about cooking. I don't know, cooking in the
Chef's
world.
Table, man.
Kiss the ground. Chef's Table. What's that?
This is the best food show that's ever been made.
How is that? What are they
I
cooking
mean, it
on there?
transcends
Vegan
the
stuff?
genre. No, but like a bunch of different shit. And it's a show that is like, I don't like cooking shows. And it's like it's just like a beautiful show. It's like a great show.
Wow, nice touch, nice
watch it.
words. So what? They just cook and make it look as presentable as possible.
No, they just show a story about one of like a great chef for what in whatever field. Like typically there's a theme for each season, but it'll just show like a great chef and it'll tell their story and show their food and their restaurant and like shot in really like high resolution, like great. It's just like really well done. Really high production value.
Nice.
It's on Netflix.
Good touch. So check it out, Chef's Table. I have not checked that out. I watched Kiss the Ground with Woody Harrelson. You take a look at that yet?
No, what's that?
Basically, we were just talking about how with all the growing of like grains and corn and all this crap that we're growing, and we're putting what are we putting? Yeah, GMO preservatives on the food, and it's really messing up the CO2 and the oxygen levels going back and forth through some scientific shit that I'm not well to speak about. But it's not just the slaughterhouses and it's not just the carbon gases that is messing up our environment. Whatever. That sounds way too scientific, but we got to do better as we know. Did you see like glaciers falling in Alaska? Like what does it look like up there in one of the coldest places in North America?
Well, it was the fall still, but their fall is over. Like first week of September, their fall is over and it's winter. It's winter like 8 months out of the year, and then the other 4 months are spring, summer, and fall combined. But it wasn't like the glaciers were just like falling, but they were saying that like glaciers are melting and all that stuff that we already know about.
So, kind of moving about COVID times, are you feeling more comfortable living your day-to-day life as COVID is still a thing? Obviously,
a little bit.
Obviously, like we're in a different mindset than we were like March 13th, 14th, 15th, whatever. So how many months ago was that? It was almost 7 months ago now. I'd say like humans themselves are like more in a comfortable state, but it's just going to be interesting to see when restaurants will really, come back strong and when apartment rents will go back to normal. Because it just seems like in Manhattan, like producer Pat is looking for an apartment right now. And, he's having a pretty easy time, but it's just like a matter of finding the right job and then being able to actually move into that apartment. Because there's only so many jobs that you could apply for that like you go in and are going to be in the office like every day. Like the kid is working remote. So we'll see what ends up with him. No, man, that's I haven't told you guys yet. I didn't bring it up on the top of the episode, but it's looking like producer Pat is probably going to be moving out of the city. So I'm not 100% sure how we're going to move forward with the podcast, but the kid is going to be part of Ted Jones' world as long as we can have him. Yeah, I know he has his apartment until the end of the month, and then he's kind of got to regroup and figure out where he's going to move, if he's going to go back home. But we were doing podcasts via Zoom for a number of episodes, which is super fun, and we've had a ton of good guests, yourself included. So we'll see how that turns out. But the kid is always welcome here, and we have producer Katie helping us out over here on the right side, sitting in the tan chair. She's throwing up deuces. So Giulio, before we wrap this up here, and we always appreciate you coming on the Ted Jones World podcast, you want to give us something interesting that happened to your day? Anything interesting happened this week? Anything weird happened? Your girlfriend's not pregnant or anything? Any news you want to share with us?
I mean, dude, I'm just trying to live my old life. It's hard.
Wow.
It's like weird to be back in the city now, because at first, like, COVID felt like a vacation.
Oh my God, it did.
Like it was weird and it sucked, but at least it was like a vacation. Like we got to take a little pause from our lives and just relax and wait. And now, that time has passed, and like I don't want to do that anymore. I want to like live my life again to a degree at least. So now it's like I'm living here and I'm working and I'm almost back to what things were like before, minus like the entertainment industry being shut down and not being able to do comedy regularly. Like my day to day is like kind of becoming sort of similar, but like the gym sucks. Like you need to wear a mask and you can't go to bars, and like it's like New York without any of the fun, which kind of sucks. So it's an adjustment, but it's all right, and I'm sure it'll be,
I find myself kind of wanting lockdown number 2. As bad as I know that will be for the city, it's like you said initially, it was kind of like a vacation, especially from like the months of like March 15th or whatever to like June 15th. Like that was a full vacation, I felt like, where people were freaking out, even wiping down groceries.
Yeah.
To the point where I feel like people aren't really wiping down groceries anymore. 20 seconds washing your hands, forget about it. It's 10 seconds now. So I think people are kind of getting more used to COVID and moving around throughout COVID. But by the way, dude, have you gotten your flu shot? I got my flu
I haven't
shot.
gotten it yet.
Dude, they say it's the most important flu shot. I got mine at CVS. It was pretty quick. Producer Katie over there, you get your flu shot? She did. All right, good. We wouldn't let her in here without that. Yeah, you should. But I recommend everybody listening get your flu shot. Now, whether or not you're going to get that COVID-19 vaccine, I'd say if Fauci says it's cool to get, I'd get it. If Donnie T says it's good to get, I'd still wait for Fauci to come through and say that it's okay. Because I feel like there's going to be a vaccine that Donnie T will be pushing within like the next upcoming weeks before the election. And I also don't know who's going to win this election. And if it goes one way, I can see a lot of people being upset. And if it goes another way, I could see a lot of people being upset. But school closures and teachers not feeling safe right now in schools is like a big talking point, just in terms of like really kind of, I don't know, killing the virus, man, if that's possible. We were doing so well for so long, and then now school's coming back. So I don't really know where we are at. What would you say would be the worst position to be in as like a student or a person in terms of like COVID area? Would it be like a senior in high school, senior in college, middle schooler? What do you think?
I don't know. I know that they're saying that like little kids, like school is the most important or something as far as for your like development. Obviously it would suck to have to go to be in college and not get to like live college normally. But I don't know, it sucks in general for everybody. But obviously it's unique for school and stuff as well. But, as long as you can stay healthy, I guess, like it's, I don't know, not that bad.
Yeah, I know. So we'll see. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching here. TJW number 58. Producer Katie, thank you so much from the tan chair over there. We really love it. And Giulio Gallarotti, thank you so much. It's your 4th time on this podcast, and we'll have you on 4 times, a million more times. We really appreciate it, pal. Everybody, thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
Ted Jones messed with the wrong melon farmers.
Ted Jones, I also call him the 8th wonder of the real estate world.
Ted Jones, who knows? It could be
Ted Jones?
The Ted Jones World Podcast.